What is a fact that you learned in grade school that has been disproven? We were taught that Rosa Parks didn't get up from her seat because she just got tired one day, that the entire action was the spontaneous action of a lone woman. In fact, the entire thing was scripted and choreographed. While Parks was a seamstress, she was also the secretary to the president of the local NAACP chapter. She was recreating the protest done by Claudette Colvin. The NAACP wanted Parks to recreate it because Colvin was very dark-complected, and a single mother. The NAACP thought Parks, who was lighter-skinned, would appeal to white audiences seeing this on TV. When I was in junior high in the mid-80s, our earth science textbook said continental drift, and our teacher said, "Okay, so I need you to ignore all of chapter 4 or whatever it was." Plate tectonics has been the accepted theory taught in colleges for 10 years now. The K-8 textbooks haven't caught up yet. I feel like the version of plate tectonics I learned was a tiny bit garbled compared to what kids learned 10 years later, but my teacher was directly pulling from college texts and published scientific papers and distilling it down for 6th graders, so more power to her. When I was little, I was taught about the Brontosaurus, mighty long-necked plant eater of the dinosaurs. Later, I was taught that, whoops, they accidentally stuck some random bones together and there was never any such animal. Later still, I recall hearing that, oh, actually, there was a Brontosaurus after all. Or was there? To this day, I am still, as a 42-year-old man, unclear on whether or not there was ever such a thing as a Brontosaurus. My teacher in primary school once told me on a school break that drinking diluted Robinson squash was bad because it goes straight to your stomach, not your brain, unlike water. Her words to a T. Even at the age of 8 or so I looked at her like, it was so random I'll never forget it. Didn't need the internet or science to disprove that one. Putting Aboriginal children in schools was okay at the time I was taught, and they wanted their children to go. The Aboriginals were treated with respect and their traditions and values were protected. Canada in the 90s, more specifically my social teacher in grade 6 or 7. Pretty sure now that's not how it went down. I disproved my teacher in elementary school and never trusted the education system again. We had a group project where we had to think of as many animals as we could that started with each letter of the alphabet. This woman didn't believe that blue-footed boobies were real, angry face, that men were hunters and women were gatherers. Hunting and gathering was pretty much 50-50 and women were more successful than men. When remains were found that were female and included spears, knives, etc., the archaeologists were biased and said that that was for the gathering. Far too many to count. Elementary school was 1970s for me, and apparently the folks that wrote our textbooks and curriculum in the 50s and 60s were entirely full of shit, high on mushrooms, and or pulling facts out of their asses that it wasn't clear what killed the dinosaurs. The big Alvarez article about the meteor impact was in 1980 when I was in grammar school, but it took a while for that both to filter through to the world and be broadly accepted. I mean, I went to school in Florida in the 1980s and 1990s, so most American history from 1830 until about 1970 that I got was just wrong. Like, I had to essentially get re-educated and taught accurate history once I got to college. That it's winter when we are furthest from the sun. It's actually when we northern hemisphere are closest. It's the tilt of Earth on its axis that causes the seasons. The Milky Way is the known universe. The 4 food groups. I was taught that in college you will spend all of your study time in the library reading and researching using books and reference catalogs. The internet was evil and full of lies and not a valid resource for academic research. To see if a guy will go bald, you find his mother's father and see what hair, if any, he has. Then his genes are passed from him to his daughter, to the guy. Nope. The genes are inherited from both father and mother. That frogs don't feel pain because they don't have skin like humans do. I think the middle school science teacher who said this was just to calm down some upset kiddos during frog dissection day. Where did we end up on? You can see the Great Wall from space. Because at different points that was both true and definitely disproven in various textbooks I had. You can't use a calculator for this lesson. You won't be walking around with one in your pocket when you're older, so you need to learn how to calculate without one. Respect those in authority. The government, your company, your boss have your best interest at heart. If you work hard and play by the rules, you will get ahead. You have 5 senses. It's closer to 23. Your skin alone has 9 distinct types of sensation, not to mention proprioception, sense of the passage of time, etc. That you can see the Great Wall from space. It's long, not wide. If you can't see a highway from space, What makes you think you can see the Great Wall? Pluto being a planet, and it makes me so sad people push back on it. It's not that Pluto got downgraded, it's that it got a bunch of little friends. My mom used to always say that muscle soreness from exercise was due to lactic acid. Now it's because of micro tears in the muscle. All men are created equal. Not being a smartass, but some people definitely are born into worse situations than their neighbors. Had a computer teacher in middle school say that by 2022 we would have 128-bit computers. I don't think that will ever happen, TBH. Not me, but my dad? There are only 93 elements. Added maybe the number was 92. He's not around to ask anymore. Electrons are the smallest thing in the world. Nothing travels faster than light. Marriage is till death do us part. Probably an old guy, but rolling around mercury in our palms. It's completely safe and non-toxic. Yeah, it isn't. I remember when continental drift was considered a speculative, unproven theory. This would have been mid-1960s. In elementary school Baptist private school we were taught that the Earth is only a few hundred years old. You need to show your math. It's not like you're going to walking around with a calculator in your pocket. In the early 80s we were told that we would soon use the metric system in the US. Still waiting. The food pyramid. It was even given up for the plate proportions before I was learning the pyramid in 10th grade physics that Heisenberg uncertainty was due to the intrusive nature of measurements. That as a kid, strangers were going to constantly offer you drugs. Thank you, DARE program. Blood is blue while it's in your veins. I'm pretty sure the magic school bus even taught that. Regardless of the source, anything on the internet was considered to not be a valid reference. Trickle-down economics. The rich just hoard the money or pay it to other rich people. The Great Wall of China is the only man-made object which can be seen from space. Columbus discovered North America. Oh no! The Native Americans were already here. For some strange reason we were taught that the vagina is clearer than the mouth. You had to force-feed yourself 182 cups of milk a day if you wanted strong bones. American history books are pretty much full of lies, especially in the South. The Coriolis Force does not, in fact, cause toilets to drain counterclockwise. Blood is blue in your veins and only turns red when you bleed BC of oxygen. The food triangle recommended 10 to 12 servings of bread and grains a day. There are only the 4 oceans. Not this bastardized 5th ocean nonsense, that if I worked hard and studied them, I would make a comfortable living. 11 servings of bread cereal per day is the basis of a healthy diet, smiley face. Pluto was a planet. Also that random people would give me free drugs. I went to a fundamentalist Christian grade school. Where do I start? No one can operate at that level of mental activity, and not crash. Christopher Columbus was the first European to visit North America. That carrots make your eyesight better. This was in the early 90s. I'm feeling lucky on Google has something to do with the lottery. Australia is a continent. This is folly. Oceania is a continent. If you work very hard you will make money and have a nice life. You won't always be carrying a calculator in your pocket. But we won't be walking around with a calculator in our pockets. Dinosaurs were reptiles and were definitely killed by a meteor. Fixed amount of brain heart cells after reaching a certain age. We would, in fact, always have a calculator in our pockets. The ozone layer will be completely gone by the year 2000. That Pluto is a planet. I'll never forgive them for that. America is the X200B. Greatest country in the world. You won't have a calculator in your pocket. Yay, I do. I can double a penny every day and be rich in a month. Didn't learn cursive, failed high school. Checkmate. Christopher Columbus discovered America. He did not. You're never gonna have a calculator in your pocket.